we're going to take a look to see what programming is about. So this is just a quick overview on programming. So what is programming? So if you think about it, it's going to be the process of designing and building an executable computer program to accomplish a specific task or solve a particular problem. So we have different hardware components that are out there, from your smartphones to TVs. All that needs some kind of coding, some kind of program that was written by a programmer. Let's look at some of the concepts here. So it's going to be the art of instructing a device, because again, it doesn't have to be a single computer. So we have these, doorbells with cameras. We have, light bulbs that connect up to the internet that you're able to operate through your smartphone. So all that requires some kind of, algorithm or code, to perform a specific task, for enhancing some automation and optimizing solutions. Now, take also, for example, the Boston Dynamics robotic dog. That all requires unique programming to run all the actuators and the motors and all the sensors that are there. So that is some real cool and neat things. So what's a programming language? Well, this is going to be our foundational tool or tools enabling humans, us, right, to communicate instructions to the devices. So it's just the easier way to write the so-called code, because later on we'll basically see how this code is then translated into machine code, facilitating the creation of software applications and then the advancement of technological innovation. So look at some of the concepts in programming. Main things in programming that we'll be working with is variables. So for example, back in algebra class, we had variables like x is equal to 7, y is equal to 9, and then we end up utilizing those variables to solve for x or solve for y, etc. So it's just a way of keeping track of data elements or data points. We also have what we call flow control in terms of decision making and loop making structures. So for example, while a certain condition is true, then do this, or if this condition is true, then do this. And then another big part in programming is going to be functions. So it's going to be basically a modular set of code that you're able to reuse over and over again, so code does not have to be basically rewritten every single time you need to do something that is redundant. If we look at some of the programming paradigms, so here is basically defining some kind of style or approach for structuring the code organization, and then we also have the guidance and conceptualization. So again, programming is unique to every individual. When I see students code, not all people have the same code, the same lines exactly word for word. Everyone's kind of unique in their thinking, how they solve the problems. But there needs to be some kind of standardization so someone else is able to quickly look at the code and figure out what's going on, to either fix something or understand what the application is actually doing. Now, another part that's going to be a big resource when we're going to be writing code is going to be the different tools, or basically editors. So these editors have enhanced tremendously. So they give us things such as code editing, highlighting keywords, much easier for debugging, and then in the larger structure we have basically project management of code being checked in, checked out, where people are working on multiple bits and pieces of a smaller puzzle to fit the bigger puzzle. And a term that you'll see quite often with this is what they call IDEs, Integrated Development Environments. So for example, you might have heard of Visual Studio Code, PyCharm, Eclipse, and there's a whole bunch of different other online IDEs that do very similar components on that part. And then, what is the importance of programming? Well, first of all, is this. It helps us automate a lot of stuff: problem solving, innovation, critical thinking, versatility. So all that comes into play. Now, the programs that we're going to be doing, obviously, they're going to be something that we're starting out with, learning the concepts and principles. And then as you continue on in your studies, you get to basically write programs that are going to be a lot more sophisticated for running devices or utilizing some kind of fancy web application. I mean, imagine how Facebook and Twitter and all those applications that are out there, how many lines of code there are. Now, clearly there's going to be a lot of career opportunities. It's a never-ending and developing, evolving career path. And the other thing is, it helps you learn and understand how things work in terms of understanding digital literacy. So that's basically our quick overview in terms of what is all involved in programming. As we get more details, we'll be breaking up certain things in smaller modules and learning them in much greater detail.